Managing money often feels confusing not because it is complicated, but because most people are not fully aware of where their money actually goes. We assume we spend less than we do, justify small purchases, and ignore patterns that slowly drain our finances. That is exactly why tracking every expense, even for just 30 days, can be one of the most eye-opening financial exercises you will ever do. It forces you to confront reality, understand your habits, and take control of your financial life in a way that budgeting alone often fails to achieve. When you track every rupee, dollar, or coin, you stop guessing and start knowing, and that shift alone can completely transform your relationship with money. Today, we will talk about I tracked every expense for 30 days. Here's what I learned. So, before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. The decision to track every expense for 30 days didn't come from a place of discipline. It came from frustration. I constantly felt like my money was disappearing without a clear explanation. At the end of each month, I had little to show for my earnings. I wasn't making huge purchases, yet my savings were not growing either. That disconnect made me realize that I didn't have a spending problem. I had an awareness problem. Tracking expenses seemed like a simple solution, but I quickly learned that it was much more powerful than I expected. To make this experiment effective, I set a few strict rules. Every single expense had to be recorded immediately, no matter how small. Whether it was a cup of tea, a snack, or a large bill payment, everything was written down. I categorized each expense into needs, wants, or unexpected spending. There were no exceptions, no guesses, and no delays. This level of detail was uncomfortable at first, but it was necessary to get an accurate picture. One of the biggest realizations came within the first week. Small, everyday expenses were adding up much faster than I had imagined. A quick snack here, a ride there, a subscription I forgot about. None of these seemed significant individually, but together they formed a large portion of my spending. It became clear that financial leaks often come from unnoticed habits rather than big decisions. Tracking expenses forced me to clearly distinguish between needs and wants. Before this exercise, I often blurred the line between the two. I would justify certain purchases as necessary when they were actually optional. Seeing everything written down made it impossible to ignore the truth. Needs were essential for survival and daily living, while wants were choices that added comfort or entertainment. This clarity helped me rethink my priorities. Another powerful insight was recognizing emotional spending patterns. I noticed that I spent more money when I was stressed, bored, or tired. These purchases were not about necessity, but about temporary relief. Tracking expenses made these patterns visible, allowing me to address the root cause instead of the symptom. It showed me that managing money is not just about numbers. It is also about understanding behavior. One of the most surprising discoveries was how much money was going toward subscriptions and recurring payments. Streaming services, apps, and small monthly charges seemed harmless, but they added up significantly over time. Some of these services were barely used, yet they continued to drain money every month. Tracking expenses helped me identify and eliminate unnecessary subscriptions. The simple act of tracking created a sense of awareness that influenced my spending decisions. Knowing that I had to record every expense made me think twice before making a purchase. It added a layer of accountability that was missing before. This awareness alone reduced unnecessary spending without requiring strict budgeting rules. By the second week, my behavior started to change naturally. I became more conscious of my choices and began prioritizing value over convenience. Instead of making impulsive purchases, I started asking myself whether something was truly worth it. This shift was gradual but impactful, showing that awareness leads to better decisions. Tracking expenses every day required discipline. There were moments when it felt tedious or unnecessary, but consistency was key. Skipping even a single expense could create gaps in the data and reduce the effectiveness of the exercise. Over time, it became a habit, and the process felt less like a chore and more like a routine. Another important lesson was identifying unexpected spending patterns. Certain categories, such as food delivery or transportation, were much higher than anticipated. These patterns were not obvious until they were tracked consistently. This insight allowed me to make targeted changes instead of guessing where to cut back. Categorizing expenses played a crucial role in understanding where my money was going. It helped me see the bigger picture and identify which areas needed improvement. Without categories, the data would have been overwhelming and less useful. Clear categories turned raw numbers into meaningful insights. As I became more aware of my spending, saving money became easier. I didn't have to force myself to save. It happened naturally as I reduced unnecessary expenses. The money that was previously wasted on small impulsive purchases was redirected towards savings and more meaningful goals. Tracking expenses had a significant psychological impact. It reduced anxiety by giving me a sense of control over my finances. Instead of feeling confused or overwhelmed, I felt informed and empowered. This shift in mindset made managing money less stressful and more manageable. The process was not without challenges. It required time, effort, and consistency. There were moments when I forgot to record expenses or felt tempted to skip entries. However, overcoming these challenges was part of the learning experience. It taught me the importance of discipline and attention to detail. If I were to repeat this exercise, I would use tools or apps to make tracking easier and more efficient. While manual tracking was effective, technology can simplify the process and provide additional insights. I would also extend the tracking period to gain a deeper understanding of long-term patterns. Anyone can start tracking expenses with minimal effort. You don't need complex tools or systems. A simple notebook or mobile app is enough. The key is to be consistent and honest. Record every expense, categorize it, and review your data regularly. This simple practice can lead to significant improvements in your financial life. The benefits of tracking expenses go beyond the initial 30 days. It builds awareness, improves discipline, and helps you make better financial decisions. Over time, these benefits compound, leading to greater financial stability and growth. It also creates a strong foundation for budgeting, saving, and investing. After 30 days of tracking every expense, the biggest lesson was that awareness is the foundation of financial success. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Tracking expenses provides clarity, accountability, and control, making it easier to manage money effectively. It showed me that small changes can lead to big results and that financial improvement starts with understanding your habits. Tracking every expense for 30 days may seem like a simple exercise, but its impact can be life-changing. It reveals hidden patterns, highlights unnecessary spending, and helps you take control of your finances. The process requires effort and consistency, but the rewards are worth it. By understanding where your money goes, you can make smarter decisions, save more, and build a stronger financial future. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.